You can be completely in love with someone and still not be ready to marry them. I know that lands wrong. I also know that most couples sitting in my office, 5 years into a hard marriage, wish someone had said it to them before the wedding. Wanting to commit is a feeling. Being ready to commit is a capacity, and they are not the same answer. I'm Dr. Shea. Today, I'm going to tell you what commitment readiness actually looks like clinically and what gets mistaken for it. I'll tell you how A and J's story ends. First, let me show you what they were carrying when they walked in. Commitment readiness has 3 clinical markers. None of them are about how much you love someone. First, you can hold your partner's needs without feeling threatened by them. When your partner expresses something they need that's different from what you need, your first response is curiosity, not defense, not shame. Curiosity. If every unmet need registers as a personal failure, that's not a love problem. It's a readiness problem. Second, you can sit inside conflict without your nervous system treating it as evidence the relationship is ending. Conflict in a long-term partnership is not optional. The question is whether you can stay regulated enough to work through it, or whether you shut down and disappear, or escalate until the other person backs down. Third, you have actually processed your significant past relationships. Not moved on, processed. You understand the role you played in what went wrong. You're not carrying a villain or a saint in your pocket, because that level of black and white thinking about your own relational history is a signal that the real work hasn't been done yet. These aren't about being perfect. They're about arriving as a whole person, not someone who needs the relationship to complete them. A and J have been together 3 years, engaged, 8 months from the wedding, good people, kind to each other. But something kept cycling. Whenever J needed space after a hard week, A would interpret that space as withdrawal, as a signal something was wrong. A would reach out, ask questions, need reassurance, and J, already depleted, would feel crowded, would pull back further, which would intensify A's need, which pushed J further away. Neither of them was doing anything malicious. Both were responding exactly as their nervous systems had been wired to respond. A was anxious, J was avoidant. The anxious partner reaches, the avoidant partner retreats. The retreat triggers more reaching. The reaching triggers more retreat. Both people experience the other person as the problem. What was actually happening? A's attachment system learned that love was unpredictable. It became hypervigilant. J's learned that closeness was unsafe. It protected itself by pulling away. These weren't personality flaws. They were adaptive strategies that stopped being adaptive the moment they entered the same relationship. Here's what TikTok gets wrong about attachment theory. It treats your style like a fixed diagnosis: anxious, avoidant, secure, full stop. The research doesn't say that. What the research says is that adults can develop what's called earned security. Insecure attachment is not a life sentence, but changing it requires 2 things. First, naming it accurately. Second, being in a relationship where both people understand what's happening and respond to it differently. A and J had neither. They had a dynamic with a name they'd never been given. The second insight is about emotional availability versus emotional performance. Emotional performance is knowing the right words, saying, "I hear you," nodding at the right moments. Many people have gotten very good at this. Emotional availability is different. It's being able to stay present with your partner's distress when you cannot fix it. Here's the test I give couples. When your partner is struggling with something you cannot solve, what do you do? If you get restless, start problem solving, change the subject, find yourself needing them to feel better soon, that's a limit on your availability, not a character flaw, a pattern. And it's worth knowing before you commit to someone who will need you to simply be present without solving for decades. Here's the objection I hear most. We communicate well. We don't have any of these patterns. My partner is warm and present, and I feel secure. Good. I genuinely mean that. And here's the clinical challenge. Every couple feels secure in the easy seasons. The anxious-avoidant cycle often goes invisible until real pressure arrives. A job loss, a health crisis, a period where both people are depleted simultaneously, and the regulated version of themselves is simply not available. What I'm asking you to do is not to manufacture problems that don't exist. I'm asking you to know what your nervous system defaults to under genuine stress, to know your partners, to have the conversation in a calm moment before you need it. Because you cannot build the anchor during the storm. Ask your partner this week, when I'm struggling with something you cannot fix, what do you actually do? See what they say. See what you notice. A and J are still together. The dynamic didn't disappear overnight, but once they named it, the cycle broke differently. A could say, "This is my attachment system talking, not the relationship." J could stay in the room longer, knowing the closeness wasn't a trap. That's what naming does. The Blueprint Compatibility Assessment covers attachment and emotional availability as 2 of its 5 domains. Link in the description. Take it together. If you want to go deeper, the Blueprint Workshop Series is live. 5 sessions. Link below. Love connects you. The Blueprint protects you.